So down a little step from the terrace that isn't part of the land, down to the house, or the building. It's not really a house, but what is it? Maybe 12 feet by 6, 12, 18, maybe 22 feet, maybe a bit more, maybe 30 feet. 6, 12, 18, 24, yeah, between 24 and 30 feet long, I think. So one side is just breeze blocks. And currently has one small window and a door. The issue, of course, is this incredible stone on one side of the building that would be a nightmare to put windows in, I'm assuming anyway. What do I know? Don't know if it will actually film inside. But yeah. Clearly very low beam. Idea would be to raise the roof, put windows around the top, and line this with insulation after liming it, I think. I think that would be what you would do to start getting it insulated. But clearly it's very cool in there now, in the heat of the day. So this is the stone part of the building. That's the beautiful window or doorway. It's too small, too short for a doorway for me. I'm not moving those huge 1.5 foot thick stones. But yeah, hopefully it would be a door that could open if I can find one cheap. A window that could open, should I say, not a door. And obviously this all needs to be rendered inside and out. It's very hodgepodge, but I mean it will do the job for me, that's for sure. So at the back here it's about 10 foot high with this sort of trough area, well, a ledge area. It used to be a trough, I guess. Huge boulders underneath. There are actually boulders, it's built on boulders at the back, which is fine. Totally happy with that. I would want a mezzanine bed above it. And then at the front it's already 8 foot high. And the idea would be to raise the roof so that I could put windows, if I can get lots of recycled ones. There's a tiny little hole in the side there, I don't know if I can keep that. And the floor, obviously it used to be bedding for animals. And it would be good to do a horse poo floor and then cover it, just, you know, like a cob floor basically, like they do in cob houses. It certainly doesn't feel damp in here at all. Doesn't smell damp, which is amazing for Portuguese buildings. Their houses usually smell damp. And then a burner in here. Now the problem being I wouldn't be able to put a doorway between the two. I would have to have a connecting bit outside, I guess. Window, but this would be the main door. And of course it needs a new floor. And again, it might not have to be raised, but if you're doing some of it, and also it's got asbestos on the top, which is not clever and needs to be disposed of carefully. Not sure what the rules are. There's a young fruit tree. So around it, this would be my kitchen view. So this is a plum tree right outside, apple tree there, oak trees there, and hopefully the front part would be then some sort of conservatory type area that would be really warm with passive heating in the winter. And my view again would be that beautiful pond, hopefully, that would be dug, and then the granite boulder behind. I have no idea what's going to be underneath, but I'm assuming it's clay because it gets so marshy in the winter. But yeah, I'd have to get somebody to look at that. But this is a beautiful big apple tree. Don't know how edible they are. They're not really ready yet, that's for sure. And that's the track out. So this is really the only way in and out, and it's an old forest track. And the neighbours just use an ordinary car to get in and out, and they just live a couple of 100 metres away from here. That's the nearest neighbours. English couple just moved in with a baby. And big trucks can apparently come in and deliver materials too. The reason that I've got all these ideas and bits of knowledge is because Kathleen and Vlad were really interested in this piece of land themselves. So I'm trying to look for the boundary stones. I might have passed them, but never mind, I'll go back to that in a minute. I want to show you the field below. I haven't actually been to it myself yet, I've just overlooked it. And hopefully this would come up for sale too for around the same price, which at the moment is 3.5k. They think that he'll take 3 for it, and then it just goes down much deeper. This is the meadow below, which would clearly be amazing grazing in the springtime. And that boundary wall there leads up to the land that's for sale. Isn't that beautiful? Just stunning views. And lined by oaks and not forestry plantation on that side. And then down below as well, not forestry plantation. Lots of natives and some pine trees, but mainly natives. And so Portugal apparently has these little boundary rocks. I'm just going to walk down. I'm repeating myself, I know. So yeah, one of the ideas would be there are holes to drain the water from the top field behind this wall. I think there are 2 or 3. And it feels very cushiony here to walk where the water's been coming through. I should have counted the paces. Maybe when I look back I can count the paces because I can hear my footfalls hopefully on the video. Mint, so definitely lots of water still. And then this way, we're having a very excited dog behind me. Okay, so this case here. So this looks like plantation actually, this little section here. I'm not sure who owns this part. Let's climb into the field. So again, that is the size of the field. The wall that we've just come by is down there. The house is behind that clump of trees there, and the boundary stones. That's facing south. That's facing south. That's facing west. That's facing north. And this wall is facing east, where the sun is rising. Ah, yeah, and a fig tree. My favourite. So there are some figs on here, not a lot. But I think they're not the very big kind of fig. They're the smaller kind of fig. Again, lots of blackberries and vines growing up. Vines sprout up everywhere here. So many people are growing grapes. Wild carrot, lots of wild carrot. Saw a few birds. So often you don't see very many birds here. You see shitloads of butterflies. But there's definitely a few birds around here, and that would be one of the aims, is to really, really encourage more bird life. And there are grapes growing off this vine on the wall. Not sure how edible or sweet they would be, as soon as they're just growing wild and not cultivated anymore. But they're certainly very big and very plentiful. So this was probably one of the marshy areas, because it's still pretty wet. Looks like some animals have been on here. I mean, there might have been wild boar in here. because I would imagine that because the stream is running, lots of animals come down here to drink. It's probably one of the few places in the summer. St John's wort. Mint. Coming up to the end of this boundary wall. And over in the direction of the well. Under the apple tree. So where does she see it? Hopefully I won't fall in it before I find it. Not sure if that is the well. Or if it's over here. Let's have a look. Loads more St John's wort, blackberries and vines. But can I see? Well, no. It's well disguised. Oh. Right there, there is a lot of water still there. I'm keep going to see if I can find a well. And also I want the dogs to have a drink from the water. So yeah, here you go. This is what will be encouraging wildlife in this area. Not only the variety of trees, but just water all year. And yeah, I would imagine wild boars come here quite a bit. Lots of nettles, lovely. Still don't know where the well is. I'm across the stream. But I looked over here last night and I didn't see the well. And I thought Kathleen went the other way. I mean, that could actually be the well anyway, but that's where the stream is coming from that big boundary wall up there, I think, underneath. So this area all needs clearing. But yeah, how lovely would that be to actually get it flowing and constant water flow into a pond, which would be dug here. And Kathleen is saying that for a digger, each day with a driver is about €55, and she thinks a day or two would do it. Now obviously that depends on the size that I want and the size that we think would actually dry out the field a little bit elsewhere. But yeah, I'm envisioning something you can actually swim in, so I don't know how many days that would take, and if that's a good idea environmentally. So the other thing is there might be a grant available, she thinks, because when there are fires here, people basically build their ponds so that water can be scooped up at any point for wildfires, which is obviously a really helpful thing in this area where there are lots of pine and eucalyptus and increasingly hot summers. Although saying that, this summer is pretty mild. This is really like an English summer, but we are at 800 meters approximately, and so it's going to be really cold in the winter, and then hot summers, but there's greenery everywhere. It's beautiful. Obviously another thing that I'd be worried about with the pond is mosquitoes, and it just being wet basically. So that is a concern, but is it a big enough concern? Because you can mosquito proof the house, but I don't want to not be able to eat outside and get savaged every night. So yeah, selfishly that is a concern for me. But yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? So from down here, another view of the building. I mean, to get a building, not have to buy a caravan, just quietly do it up and live in there. That is pretty amazing. I mean, it's ugly on one side now, but that could be made very beautiful. I'm not worried about that. yeah. I came here last night and it was all in shade because the sun was just about to set. So it's really different coming in the sunshine, but I know that it's also going to be very different coming in the winter. And living here in the winter would be a completely different matter. But even as a rewilding project, and just to say that I've got my own land that I can come to when I want to, that would be a dream come true. I'm going to stop.